Welcome everybody to Today in Sports, where I talk about all the relevant news happening in the sports world today. To kick things off, we're going to go into the NBA, where Rajon Rondos reportedly pulled a gun on his ex-wife, Ashley Batchelor, who claims that he threatened to kill her during an argument that they had with each other on May 11th. He reportedly said, quote, "You're dead," after holding the gun to her. According to Ashley, the argument started when one of their sons was playing video games instead of sorting his laundry like he was supposed to be. Rondo got mad at him and ripped the console out of the wall, then proceeded to damage other items around the house before leaving the house. He then came back 15 minutes later, and that is when he pulled the gun on Ashley. Rondo has not been arrested or named a suspect in any crime, according to TMZ Sports. There have been no statements made about the issue yet from Rondo or the Cavaliers organization. That's all I have for the NBA. Now moving on to the NFL, Phillip Lindsay has agreed to a one-year contract with the Indianapolis Colts, where he will be running behind Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Lindsay played really well in his 3 seasons with the Denver Broncos, recording 2 1,000-yard seasons, but last season he didn't play as well, averaging only 2.6 yards per carry in his 10 games with the Houston Texans and 3.1 yards per carry in his 4 games with the Dolphins. While the Colts have a very competitive backfield, it's safe to say they have a better O-line than both teams that he played for last season, and that could help him get back to his old self again. While Drew Brees has decided to end his broadcasting career, his old coach Sean Payton has decided to do the opposite, becoming a sports broadcaster for Fox Sports, according to Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio. He is also reportedly in the running for a job at Amazon, who owns the rights to Thursday Night Football. Payton did announce before, though, that he doesn't plan on being done with coaching for good, so this broadcasting job is most likely a temporary one. But while he's there, it'll be fun to watch Coach Payton on Fox Sports. That's all I have for the NFL. Now moving on to baseball, Matt Harvey has received a 60-game suspension by the MLB for distributing oxycodone. He said that he distributed oxycodone to the late Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs, who died from an overdose of fentanyl and oxycodone. Harvey last pitched in the major leagues for the Orioles, going 6-14, and it's probably safe to say he won't be pitching again for a while. Now moving on to golf, Tiger Woods says that his knee is getting stronger, believes it will only get stronger as he uses it more. After his worst performance ever at the most recent Masters, placing 47th, most likely due to the major injuries he sustained in a car accident a few months prior, and playing at Augusta National, one of the toughest and steepest climbing courses he could have played, making it even more difficult than it already was on his knee. He seems to be optimistic about turning that performance around as his knee gets stronger this week, as he'll try to win his 5th PGA championship, which would put him at 83 victories in his PGA Tour career, breaking his tie for most all-time with Sam Snead. He'll be teeing off at 9:11 Eastern Time on Thursday in a group with Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth in the first 2 rounds. Jordan Spieth is also looking to complete the career Grand Slam this week, which is winning all 4 of golf's major championships in the same year. If he wins the PGA Championship, then he will be the 3rd youngest player to ever accomplish this feat in the Masters era at 28 years old, only behind Jack Nicklaus, who was 26 when he did it, and Tiger Woods, who was 24. Phil Mickelson won't be returning to the PGA Championship to defend his title due to personal reasons and some grievances he has with the tour criticizing them for their greed. He hasn't released many statements on the situation, but I think everybody is missing him during this championship and hoping that he will return later. That's all I have for golf. Now moving on to hockey, Lane Lambert has become the new head coach of the New York Islanders, replacing Barry Trotz, and moving up from assistant coach, getting his first shot as an NHL head coach. While Trotz had a tough break with coronavirus hurting his depth chart this season and only missing the playoffs for the first time in his 4 seasons coaching, Lemoreo said that his move was mainly due to when Lambert took over as head coach during a stretch in January when Trotz had to deal with family issues, and he stepped up really well, showing great leadership, making him the better candidate in Lemoreo's mind. Mitchell Marner of the Toronto Maple Leafs was a victim of a carjacking on Monday, the team confirmed. He sounds to be doing fine and didn't get harmed during the incident. He is not expected to have any additional comments on the situation as the police continue their investigation. That's all I have for hockey. Now moving on to MMA, it has been confirmed that Alexander Rakic tore his ACL in his loss against John Blachowicz during the main event of Saturday's UFC Fight Night. Rakic had an MRI done Monday morning, coming back positive for a torn ACL, and he requires surgery that he plans to have done as soon as possible. Alright, that's all I've got for today in sports. Come back tomorrow for some more sports updates. See ya.